Hello, hello, hello. Hello. Hey, guys. Hey. I know, guys. I've been gone for a minute. I've had a family emergency I had to take care of, guys. So I had something going on. I had to take a break and kind of deal with that. So I'm back. But it's been a minute. Man, I missed everybody. What's been going on? Yeah, Dreamer. My brother actually is got cancer and he was really sick. And so I had to go back and forth between here and Jersey. And um, so, you know, we're dealing with that. But he's doing all right now. Yeah, he's on hospice. So, um, but I had to deal with that. So that's why I've been gone. I know I was getting everybody's messages and everything, guys. I really do appreciate it. I didn't mean to abandon everybody, but family comes first, and I had to definitely deal with that. So thank you so much. I appreciate it, guys. I appreciate all the prayers. We can definitely use it. Hey, guys. Hey, Tammy. Hey, Brianna. That's okay. That's all right. Thank you, Dreamer. I appreciate it. I really do. So, guys, what's going, man? What have I missed? What have I missed? Okay, first of all, what's going on TikTok? I feel like I've missed so much. I feel like the last time I was live, we were talking about Nancy Guthrie, who still hasn't been found. Hey, Shay. Hello, hello, hello. It's good to see you guys, too. Justice, yes. So I wonder, you guys are going to be like, you're not going to like it. You're not going to like it. I do too, Shay. I wish you would have been found. Hey, Laura. Hey, Tammy. I'm good. I'm good. I had to take a break for a family emergency. Shay, you have to watch that documentary. Thank you, Holly, for the follow. I appreciate it. Shay, if you have not watched the Crash documentary, go watch it and then tell me what you think. Because it was wild. My kitty. So where's Moo? Moo's here somewhere. Moo's over there eating. But Moo's here. Can I tell you the amount of messages, guys, I got about Moo? Is Moo doing good? Where's Moo? Can we have proof of life of Moo? Positively, I don't agree. I don't agree. Y'all are not going to like my Mackenzie Shirilla. I've watched a lot more. Yes. Has it changed? See, I feel like... So, listen. For those of you, okay, who have... And I'm going to tell you why I think the way I do. I don't just go with public opinion, right? Public opinion, guys, is hating this girl. And rightfully so. They hate Mackenzie Shirilla. She's not a nice person. And, you know what I mean? She kind of comes off as, and I agree with them, right? Her personality sucks. But that doesn't make somebody a murderer. And so I don't really take public opinion, or I don't trust documentaries, right? I know too much about the documentary process. Thank you, Kaz. Thank you. Yeah, guys, I just got back from the pool with the kids today, so I'm looking a little rough, but yeah, so I don't trust the documentary process. We all know that they are biased. They don't, you know what I mean? They don't really go with everything. Oh, hey, Just Jack, did you mean to come up? So my opinion, I went and I looked at all of the FOIA documents, and a shout out to Sparky. I don't know if Sparky's in here. She did send me, hey, Taurus, she did send me some stuff that I didn't have. Torty Mom. So I'm curious, for those of you who think that she's absolutely guilty, and I don't want to say guilty, guys. Let's not use the word guilty, because I do believe to some extent that she's guilty, right? I just don't believe that, one, intent was proven, nor do I think intent is there. So, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that she didn't kill those boys. Her driving killed those boys. So that's absolutely true. Thank you guys for the heart me's. Guys, do me a favor. I don't mean to be a pest, but if you guys can send me a heart me, I appreciate it. I haven't been live in a minute, so I got to get back into the algorithm. I don't think intent was there, and nobody can prove intent. You know what I mean? Nobody has proven intent yet. Not a single person, not the judge, not the prosecution, nobody. Everyone is taking this too emotionally. I do believe there's a lot of some stuff going on inside the courts with the prosecution and the lawyers. But to be honest with you, I think she's guilty. I think it's vehicular manslaughter. So split personalities, what threatening text? Nobody's been able to actually show me any threatening text. Now, there's text saying that they were threatening each other, but has anybody actually seen anything where she was actually threatening him? You know what I mean? And again, I think she purposely drove into that wall. However, I see what you mean by proving it. So, yeah, there's been no intent proven. So I don't believe the judge's call was correct. And we know that judges can be wrong. I don't believe that the judge was correct in stating that intent was proven, because intent was not proven. Nowhere in there was intent proven. Now, it doesn't mean she's not guilty. It was at her hands and her car that these boys are dead. So I'm not saying that she's not guilty to some extent. I just don't believe, I feel like she did threaten, because she said, if you don't let me in the house, I'm going to do what? Exactly, Justice. What did she say she was going to do? Do what? Do what? Could that have been she was going to call the cops? Could that have been, that wasn't a threat. That would just meant she was going to do something, but do what? I think she has threatened it before, and they thought would stop her. I've never seen a threat. Positively, let's talk about that. Positively just said, do you think she was lying about not remembering? I can't speak on whether or not I think this, that she's lying or not, right? None of us will ever know. But I can see why she doesn't remember. I can see why her memory does not exist. I can also see, I don't know about the pots, but I can also see why she said, Debbie, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. I can also see why she said that she remembers her vision fading, just going black. Do you guys remember that? Now, I'm trying to organize my thoughts, because I got so much to say about this, y'all. Right. A lot of people with POTS can't drive. Hold on. I'm trying to read you guys. So doesn't that seem to mean she remembers, but is saying she doesn't? Not necessarily. I believe that she absolutely could not remember what happened. Okay. I really do. I don't know that I believe that it was a medical condition, the reason why she drove into that wall. Tammy, right. Now, I was in a really bad car accident, and I remember the situation. I don't remember the actual crash. I don't remember the few seconds before the crash and a few seconds after. So I have a little bit of, a few minute gap there where I just don't remember. But I do remember the situation. I do remember the ambulance coming. I do remember my car. I do remember trying to get out of the car, but I don't remember the actual crash. So do I see, and mine wasn't nearly as bad as this one. So can I see that it's a possibility that she doesn't remember? Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, hey, Colt. I have gaps, but I remember hitting the windshield. Yes. And so I think it's definitely possible. I don't believe that it was a medical emergency, though. I think she may think that. I don't remember she got mad at him. She sped the car. She tried to turn the wheel that last second and failed. You see, while some of that story, Mia, makes sense, how do you know she got mad at him? What makes you think that they were fighting? Oh, wow, Aurora, that's horrible. I saw Becca Scoop Zitty. She's quite possible she does have diagnoses, right? I don't agree with her being anything like Gypsy Rose, but I do believe she does have diagnoses. She was on antidepressant medication, and then she abruptly stopped it. Now, you take that, and then you add in these drugs, right? She started smoking pot, excessively, not just regular like most people do, excessively. And then who just said, Mia, what's not fact? I don't think, hold on. I'm trying to read these. So maybe a manic episode. I don't think so. I think reckless driving. I thought Dom's sister said he was texting a friend while going home saying that they were arguing. Nobody's ever shown proof of that. I don't go by what people say unless it's like in a statement under oath, because prove it. And I'll get back to that too, because why is Dom's phone the only phones we never got records of? I mean, make that make sense. You really, when you look at stuff, you really have to look why you saw her behavior in prison. Again, someone's behavior, just because people like them or not, doesn't make them a murderer. It's one thing to say, hey, I don't like the girl, but to say she's a murderer because her personality sucks and she's nasty and I don't like her, it's either you're looking for the truth or you're looking just to go with public opinion. And public opinion, we know how outrageous that can get with these true crime cases. Thank you, Shelly Baby, for the follow. I appreciate it. So what I think happened as of right now, Robin, 2 kids, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Central Coast, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. So, yeah, Lizzie Busy, I will gladly believe that she intended to murder those boys if somebody can prove it to me. You know what I mean? Like, you have to prove it. You can't just say somebody said. You can't just say, well, I think she was going to threaten him. You have to prove it. So I think people are confusing the fact that she's guilty of murder, yes, but intent hasn't been proven. I don't think it's murder, Shelley. I don't think that she's guilty of murder. I do believe that she's guilty of vehicular manslaughter. And probably, I do think that she's guilty of manslaughter. Excuse me. But I don't think that she's guilty. You don't know that she ducked under the dashboard. You just know that that's where she ended up. I see you, Shelley. You don't know that she ducked under the dashboard. And she could have, and it makes total sense on why she would. I'm still trying to remember. That's okay. I think that is what I think she was at fault. Absolutely. Guys, I'm not saying that this girl is not at fault by any means. I'm just saying intentional murder, premeditated murder is wild. Prove it. And again, take Mackenzie Shirilla out. The fact that we don't like the girl, right? Take her out of the situation and put you or I. If we were sitting there, everyone's sitting there saying, well, she didn't like him and they were fighting and they were doing this. Trust me, she meant to do it. And, oh, okay, 15 to life because, we think that she believed that she was going to murder them. No, that's wild. It was never proven. In the court, it was never proven intent. Auntie Coley, I'll get to that whole drip blanket thing at the end. She did drive the road several times before. In fact, Dominic's mother, all of the kids, everybody in their interviews stated that I'm neither nor or against. I'm just speaking facts, Shuri. I'm not, you know what I mean? I could tell you what I believe from the evidence I saw. I'm not for or against her. I'm just stating what I believe to be the most probable of what happened.
Can Bethany open her stuff from my mom?
Yeah, that's fine.
I didn't want her to wait.
No, that's fine. So do you think voluntary or involuntary manslaughter? I'll get to that. I don't know. Involuntary, probably. I wish they got access to Dom's phone. Now, really, let's really think about it. To sit there and say you can't have Dom's phone because it's registered to her law company, her law office, and there's confidential information on that phone is a wild thing to say. There shouldn't be. Your client's information should never be on his phone. That's crazy. And if you were really, truly trying to look for the truth, what are you trying to hide? What was on that phone? And somebody just said, guys, you guys are talking way fast, but somebody said, I think something happened at that party. I absolutely believe something happened to that party. Now, do I believe, hey, Dot, do I believe that what happened to that party was direct? I think that they're all hiding something. Hey, louder than bombs. So this is what I think happened. All right, this is what I think is the most probable. I have quite a few things that could have happened other than intent, but this is what I think is the most probable. We know that Mackenzie Shirilla drives fast, right? We know she could be reckless driving, right? We know it's been seen, hey Tina, we know that, hey Susan, we know that it's been seen that she drives at high rates of speed, right? Without a problem, all the time. All of them, in fact, have that. Andrea, Renee, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. They all have. Did you know Davion got his car taken away? His parents wouldn't allow him to drive because he was driving reckless. He had an issue with driving fast and driving reckless. Same thing with Dominic, although he didn't get his car taken away, obviously. But he also had a record of speeding tickets and driving fast, and so did Mackenzie. So what I'm trying to say is, do I think that these kids came from that party? Do I think that they were under the influence? Yes. I'm sorry, you can't. I absolutely believe it just from what people were saying was at the party, the text messages before the party. I think a lot of the kids that lawyered up and refused to talk, or when they eventually spoke, all told this perfectly same story. I do believe that shrooms, I do believe that they could have been tripping in the earlier night. I really do. Because we know that they were outside. Did you guys hear that the police were asking them about the gun and Dominic's gun, and asking the parents to look for the bullets at home or to see if there was a gun in the bushes? I think they were being reckless that night. I think they were all just being dumb kids. I do believe drugs would be involved. I think that they all got up in the morning not fighting. I think they got in that car. I think she was driving. I think she got to the dark road where there weren't a lot of lights, right? And I think she zoomed it. I think they were all hanging out in the car. I think she was going really fast, because you also got to remember, what time did she crash? 5:35, 5:39, and you had Davion in the back who was on his phone just 4 minutes before that, right? He didn't call 911. He wasn't in a panic. He wasn't doing any of that. He was just on his phone. I think that they were driving recklessly fast. I think that they were talking about what just happened at the party, right? They were probably deep in conversation, talking, whatever. And I think that those roads have no lights on them. Those roads are dark. It was 5:30 in the morning, still dark. And I believe that they were distracted or possibly under the influence, right? Which I'm sure didn't help it. And then you take that and you add the lack of sleep. They were up at the zoo the day before. They were at the first party. They went to the second party. Yes, she napped, but napped when you're up for 24 hours really doesn't. And I think that the tired, which everybody knows when you're driving without sleep, you might as well be drunk. Excuse me. I'm just getting over a cold. So I think that the fact that I do believe she was on shrooms, because we'll go over the blood work later. I believe that they were all talking about what just happened at the party, because, I mean, it was a 5-minute drive, right? And you know they're all still sitting there. Oh, so-and-so said this, so-and-so said that, this, that, the other thing. And do I think that it's possible that she drove right into it, not paying attention because she was speeding? Absolutely. Do I believe that that's why she veered to the right when she saw the sign a little too late? Yes, absolutely. I think that she veered to that right because she didn't catch it in time. I think she was just driving and bam. Which makes sense on why she said, well, I just blacked out. Because in her mind, you crashed so hard, you blacked out. Right? And that makes sense. That makes sense to me. I believe I saw they said she drove there. She drove there all the time. That was a common way that she took home. So I'm sure she drove it a couple of days before, and a couple of days before, and a week before that. The girl took that road all the time. In fact, Dom's mother admitted that she was very familiar with that road. They all were. And let's be real, they were all driving with drugs in the car. That was the road that they took because it was less likely that they were going to get pulled over. So that was the road that they frequented often. Nobody knows the truth but her. This was intentional. So you can't date and say that nobody knows the truth but her and then say in the same breath that it was intentional. And again, prove to me it was intentional. I'll take it. Guys, I will gladly change my mind if someone can show me the proof. if she's so familiar with the road, then she should not have crashed. Well, I mean, I agree that she's familiar with the road, but when you're driving 100 miles an hour, you're tired, you're probably high. I really do believe that they were tripping. And you're talking and completely distracted. I really do. What about her lack of remorse? Well, it depends on, I did see some remorse. I think people are refusing to see her remorse and aren't accepting her remorse. I think she's a sucky person. I don't think she's good at remorse, but I do think that I do believe that she showed remorse in her way. Because again, did you go over all the messages? Did you go over all her social media posts? Or did you guys just read the ones that made her look bad? You see, that's the problem, is you got to go through everything, unbiased. And that's what I did. I went through all the entire FOIA, the entire court documents. I went through, and we'll go through the interviews, which were wild. And I did it without a bias. I took the fact that I didn't like the girl and I moved it aside. And I looked at only what they showed. So, yeah, I mean, she was sitting there. Now, do I think she was good at remorse? No. Right? But she was showing remorse. She was making posts. She was doing all the things. She did have the shrine in the hospital. Like, I mean, what were people expecting her to do? What would be showing remorse? What do you consider that? Now, again, I don't think she's a nice person. I think she's a crappy person. I think her personality sucks. I think the fact that she doesn't even know how to show remorse in an acceptable way is because of her parents. Look who raised her, right? Like, don't even get me started on the parents, because that right there, I see a failure to parent. So I think they're responsible for her upbringing. However, I agree with you. She's entitled and spoiled. Absolutely, I agree with that. And whose fault is that? You can't put that blame on her. It's how she was raised. Look at the mother. Look at that father. But again, because she was raised like crap and became a crappy person, doesn't make her an intentional murderer. And she could be in, nobody wants, I mean, not even that, but the second, okay, that even before she got out of the hospital, thank you. Even before she got out of the hospital, it was 3 days later that they went into the police station accusing her of murder, her friends, telling them all these horrible stories about her. Already people wanted her to be guilty of murder before the girl even, got out of the hospital. So how would you act when everyone's looking at you and they wanted her to be guilty? I really do believe it was a little bit of a witch hunt. I think they didn't like the girl, and rightfully so. I think she was a bully. I think she was a mean person. And they wanted her to be guilty, and so they made her guilty. I really do. I really believe that. So that's my thing. Nobody can show me intent. There was no intent. Mama Kay, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. She got 15 years to life with the possibility of parole in 15 years. Did she ask her mom to tell the cops she had a seizure? Because the guy spit the geek, and the gays cut the guy to the governor, the gib, the girl, the gish. And the guy with the guys with the gays, spit the geek, the king, the gib, the girl, the gish. And again, the gif, the goo, the go, the gack, the again, live the gis, the again, to the goo, the gark, the car, the gate, to the gog. You the goo, to the go, the gear, the girl, the gays, the geesh, the girl. So, and what I just said was, I speak a form of gibberish, okay? I was raised in a big family with my siblings, and it just came naturally to me. I speak a form of gibberish. Now, Carney is a form of gibberish. I can listen to that, and I can hear that she did not say seizure. So, just because it sounds like it, because she uses e's and I use gaga, she uses a different word, like a different syllable in between hers. Just because you hear ease doesn't mean she said seizure. So they go with the guy, again to the gal, you the goo, and the guy to the give for the guys, but the go, the geese, should the give with a good, you would of course hear seizure because it uses ease. So, that was how I was raised in a big family, so my parents didn't hear what we were talking about. My kids speak it now. It's wild. Okay, so, and again, hers is different than mine. She uses ease, I use a ga. The way you throw it in the syllables is a little bit different, but I can understand hers. So she doesn't say seizure, and you're hearing seizure because the word ease. She puts the word ease in between every syllable. So, you know what I mean? Like, be careful. You guys, you have to look at everything. Did she threaten to drive her car into a wall previously, though? No. Then what did she say? Oh, I have to go back. I know seizure wasn't in it, but I can go back and read it for you guys. I have it. And again, I'm not saying that she's not her driving is not the reason those two boys are dead. I am not giving her that. I absolutely think she is where she needs to be, because even if I was correct, right? She was reckless driving. I do believe that she and they all were under the influence, because even the kid was texting the friend in Colorado, I'm tripping, bro. You're tripping because you're tripping because you were all sitting there asking Mackenzie to buy the shrooms off Dom, right? You mean to tell me they all came packing with shrooms and weed, and then all of a sudden everyone was perfect. They lawyered up, and no, we didn't do nothing. We watched South Park all night. No, come on. Come on. I think they were being messy. I think they were high. They were out back shooting that gun. They were absolutely being messy. Okay? And she's trying to take a nap. All right? She could have been in a bad trip. She woke up. They decided to leave. I think that it was absolutely reckless, because I think she was speeding, which is something they all did all the time. Okay, don't sit there and say, Dom, I don't want to hear people say Dom never sped because he had speeding tickets. Absolutely, he did, at a high rate of speed. So did Davion. His parents said they had to take his car away. They didn't allow him to drive because he was speeding, because he was reckless, right? Just like her. And Davion's father said it all. You are who you're friends with. Show me your friends, right? They were all the same. They were all guilty of the same thing. So I think it was absolutely reckless. Okay, I don't think that she intended to kill those boys. And again, why all of a sudden, what does it benefit her? Why did she want him dead all of a sudden? They broke up and got back together so many times. All of them, people admitted it. Chrissy, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. They broke up and got back together. They both broke up and saw other people and then got back together. Why did she feel the need to kill him? What did she gain out of that? What did she gain out of it? The kid's dead. The kid that she loved so much and worshipped, who literally took care of her, is dead. So, somebody show me control of what? I mean, control of what? Now she's in prison now. Control of what? What did she get out of it? Hey, Heather. I think they were very toxic. I absolutely agree that they were both very toxic. But again, Isabel, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Everyone keeps saying, but she was threatening. Show me the text where she threatened him. Somebody, because I went through. Now, have I gone through all 92,000? Skimmed a lot of them for days. I haven't seen any. So thank you, Susan. Thank you. Now, again, I'm not trying to sit there. Everyone keeps saying, are you for her or are you against her? Neither. I absolutely believe to some extent she's guilty. I just don't believe that she's guilty of intentional murder. And it wasn't proved in court. The judge was absolutely wrong. And let's get into the fact that Dom's mother's a freaking defense attorney. And did y'all hear that woman's interview with the police? I can't give you Dom's phone. we got everybody else's phone. But you can't have Dom's. It's registered through my law firm. I've got, client privilege, attorney-client privilege. Why does your boy have anything to do with your clients on your phone? Because you're not supposed to be telling people. So why could they not get his phone? What was she hiding that you wouldn't just hand it over? They're out here trying to make him like he was some saint. The cop in the interview said Dom was most likely going to end up in jail. And let's be for real. He was. Doesn't mean he's a bad person. It doesn't mean I'm victim blaming. It doesn't mean that I don't think that he needs justice. Nothing like that. He should not have been dead. But none of them were good people. You had the same thing with Davion. And I'm not saying he's not a good person, but he also had issues. He had the intermittent explosive disorder. All right, he was in fights with the parent. It wasn't as, oh, the perfect little family that you think this kid is perfect. No. He had problems. He grew up he was born into a really messed up family. He was adopted out, suffered from, some serious psychological, emotional issues because of the way he was, born and raised and his life story, right? So none of them were these perfect, clean-cut, people. Thank you, Jen and Larry, for the follow. Hey, Cooks. You know what I mean? So, again, I'm not sitting there trying to be like, oh, she's innocent, free Mackenzie. No, I believe she is where she needs to be right now. But if you're actually looking at the case, and you guys know I'm not going to just go with public opinion, I'm not going to tell you guys just because you want to hear it, I'm not going to say it. I do believe that there is no intent. They all had depressive issues. They all had a history of suicidal threats. All of them, all three of them. That's a fact that I can prove. So that's why when I initially said, could it have been a pact? No, I still believe it's possible, right? Because not only was Dominic, and listen, for all of you who are going to come at me telling me, you talked to Christine, the sister, you heard it on her podcast, and she said that was normal. Even if that was normal, and let's be real, you're a 20-year-old kid having a party, out hanging out with your friends at the house, and you're just going to randomly decide that you're going to stop what you're doing. Hold on, I got to text Dad, I love him. Come on, guys. Maybe if you're sitting home doing nothing, but not at a party. You're not randomly at 3 a.m. and watch the documentary, because even the father was like, it's not really, Not only that, but Davion said to Landon, I love you. And even Landon said that was really weird. He was acting really weird, almost like it was like, and I love you. He gave me a hug before he left. Like, that was weird to Landon. That was outside of the norm. So now they were all suffered from psychological issues. They all had a history of wanting to take their own life. Okay? So you think Landon lied. He's not the only one that said that, though. That they hugged and that he said, I love you. So my whole thing is it possible that they maybe were all in a pact and they were just over it and done, and you don't know. But I'm just saying, it's possible. Prove to me that didn't happen. And if any one of these things that I'm saying is a possibility, no, I really don't. That's not what I believe. I don't know if you missed it, Shisha. I believe that they were high and weren't paying attention and she was going too fast. They were being reckless and they were driving down the street, and then bam, she completely missed the road. I don't believe that, that they were all in like some pact, but I'm saying it's a possibility. Prove to me it didn't happen. All I'm saying is everything that I'm mentioning to you is a possibility. And if any one of these are a possibility, that means intent wasn't proved. That means that judge was wrong. Any one of those things could be a possibility. And if it is, intent was not proven beyond a reasonable doubt, because all of them show doubt. So that judge was wrong. And I really do believe the fact that Dom's mother is a defense attorney, and if you watch her interview, towards the end, she's sitting there and they're talking about the lawyers and the judges. Oh, we got to go. All right, this is ended. And they quickly shut off the tape recorder. Why? Because she was saying things she wasn't supposed to. They were going to get in trouble. Go listen to it. That woman, I know this judge, I know that prosecutor, I know this. Of course you do. Of course you do. So that's a little sketchy to me. That's really sketchy to me, in fact. You know what I mean? I reacted to it on YouTube, on a YouTube live. So if you guys go over to Ivory Rose Knows at YouTube, I reacted to Dom's mother's interview. That's the only one I've reacted to so far, though. She worked for exactly. That's what I'm saying. So you don't think that, like, maybe, just maybe, they're pushing for a friend? Because, come on, let's be real. If a friend came to me and said, this girl was driving, my son's dead, and I'd be like, damn, man, no, I'm gonna make sure she rots in hell. We can all see ourselves doing it. Let's be real. Petty by choice, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. No, I'm not sitting there saying any of these boys don't need justice. I am not saying that she should be out of jail. She absolutely, at the very least, Beth, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. At the very least, I believe that she was being reckless, driving fast, intentionally driving fast, because they all did, right? I believe that they were under the influence. I think they were tripping. Shelly, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. So she should be in jail, and she does need to serve jail time. I just believe vehicular manslaughter and not intentional murder, premeditated murder. I think that's wild. And she did, first of all, and I haven't gone down this rabbit hole yet, and I will, okay? But I don't know. I want to go look. I'm going to do a deep dive on her lawyer. Because what the hell was that? Now, I kind of get what he was doing, okay? I kind of get it. It's the prosecution's job. They have to prove that the intent, right? The burden of proof is on the prosecution. And they did not. They did not prove it, period, point blank. They did not. So I get where he was kind of going with that, but when someone's life is on the line, you needed to lawyer. His lawyering sucked. He didn't do enough. He didn't call witnesses. He did not do nearly enough lawyering, and that makes me wonder why. That was a paid lawyer. Who does that lawyer know? And I'm about to go down that rabbit hole and find out. And trust me, if they know each other or there's a connection, I'll find it. But I really do believe I'm going to find some kind of connection, because his lawyering there was no lawyering happening there. None at all. That was not a fair trial. In fact, that judge should have been like, listen, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're just resting your case. You're not nothing. And again, just because we don't like her as a person doesn't mean we want her to, be charged with something that she didn't do and potentially spend life in jail. Because let's be real, the girl's got issues. Her personality sucks. She is entitled. But, due to the way she was raised, don't even get me started on the parents, because that's all the parents in this thing failed these kids. But I believe that she's going to struggle in prison with the whole parole thing and the life. You know what I mean? I don't think she deserves that sentence. Not even close. And the mom needs to stop talking. Listen. That mother needs to stop talking on her behalf. She's doing her no favors. No favors. Did anybody watch the full, when the mother, Natalie, Mackenzie's mother, was speaking to the judge at the end during the victim impact statements? Did y'all just see the little pieces on TikTok, or did y'all go back and watch the entire thing? Because I watched the entire thing, and that woman went into left field. All these people, they all got ADD. None of them can focus on anything. But that woman, she was, and everyone keeps saying what she was doing was wrong, but what she was doing was she was arguing the things to the judge that the lawyer never did. So I kind of feel bad for her. I saw what she was doing. She wasn't trying to be rude and not acknowledge the victims. She was trying to argue the points that their lawyer did not argue. She went back to that judge and was like, let me explain this. Guys, she wasn't trying to be a zombie dead person to make fun of Dom. Come on, guys. You know what I mean? She literally got up there and she wasn't trying to be rude. I don't believe. And I don't like the mother. I really don't like the mother. I dislike the mother more than I dislike Mackenzie. But I see what she was doing. She was trying to plead the case for her daughter because the attorney did not do that. Go back and watch it in its entirety. And so, yeah. The lawyer absolutely did not help her. Absolutely not. So again, a lot of you might not agree with me, and that's okay, guys. I'm not mad. I'm not going to not like the girl and assume that she is guilty of intentional premeditated murder because we don't like her. And nobody should, right? I never approach any of my cases like that. Melissa Goodlove, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. I never, ever, ever approached any case like that. Not the Gypsy Rose case, not Nancy Guthrie, nothing. I never take feelings, emotions, the fact that I don't like somebody, personal issues, ever. When I look, Jersey Girl, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. When I look at, the debate's going to be fun, Mercy. I see you. When I look at a case, though, I look at just the facts and I put myself, you know what I mean? Like, I kind of make it myself. I take the people out. Faye the Walsh, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. But at that point, that was for the victims. Sure, she tried saving her, but it was for the victims. And I agree with you. And it was in bad taste. And I don't agree with what she did. I'm just trying to tell you what she was doing. If you go back and you listen to it in its entirety, she was defending her daughter because the attorney didn't. Thank you, Cake Whiz, for the follow. I appreciate it. But do you think they were all messed up and decided to do this together? Do I think it's a possibility that they were all so messed up, they all, for a fact, suffered from psychological issues and had a history with attempts to take their own lives? Do I think it's a possibility that there was some kind of pact? I think it's possible, considering the fact that, I mean, you're dipping on drugs. You don't even know what these drugs are dipped in. Let's be for freaking real. I think it's a possibility that they just got really down that night. They were down out there in the back playing with a gun. However, I know especially for females, but for anybody, to slam your car into a wall I'm trying to say this for TikTok, guys, as a way to harm yourself is not really that common. It's not all that common. And again, if she was going to do it because she intentionally wanted to murder them, why did she wait for that block? She could have sped up to 100. It was 5:30 in the morning. I mean, it's not like there was traffic. You saw the first road she turned down. There was nobody else on the road. Why did she turn down that block to do it? She could have drove into anything. She could have drove right into a gas station at 100 miles per hour. Really make sure none of them survive, right? That doesn't make sense that she purposely drove into that building. It makes absolutely no sense. She could have driven into anything. In fact, they were supposedly, according to the police in the interview, they think, and they had really good reason to believe, that they were playing with a gun out in that backyard. That's a really, if you're going to kill him, just take the gun and shoot everybody, right? So, I think she floored it because she was being reckless. She had a habit of doing it. They all did. Davion, Dominic, her, they all had reckless driving, high speeds, speeding tickets, all of them. I think they were just being stupid after a party, possibly high. Nani's Creations, thank you for sharing out the live. I appreciate it. What do you think about the warm milk thing, though? Listen, I am not going to make a situation out of something because of that. I know a lot of people think that there was something going on between Mackenzie and her father. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't believe it, because if it were a thing, she would totally claim that as a defense. And let's be real, if the girl was lying, why would she say she doesn't remember? And I think her blacking out was her hitting the wall. I don't think she saw the wall coming. And I think that's why she was like, I don't know, I just blacked out. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make any sense. There's so many other things she could have said. She could have said, you don't know that she didn't black out, though. But she could have said anything. She could have said, you know what? I was high and drunk. I didn't realize it. They're vehicular manslaughter. You didn't intend to murder them. Well, there goes the intent, so now you got to fight the other one. Like, there was things. There could have been anything she could have said. I don't know, the gas pedal, it got stuck. I have no idea what happened. I could not the gas pedal wouldn't come up. She didn't say that, though. Right? Like, I think that she was just being stupid. However, I do think a lot more happened at that party. And I think that's why Mackenzie and everybody else, all the other kids, I do believe that they're hiding something. Something else happened that night. I don't know if, and again, you guys notice that they're all into pendulums and trying to Ouija and speak to spirits, and they're all trying to contact. You got Dad's trying to contact this one. There's an awful lot of talk about that. Now, and I'm just bringing this up. I don't know what happened in that house that night. There definitely were drugs going on. No one can prove to me, but I do think something else happened that night. Was it a dare? I don't know. Something happened in that house. There's a reason why nobody is talking. I believe that there's a reason why Dominic's mother, Christine, won't hand over the records to the phone. Don't give me that it was registered to your law firm and, attorney-client privilege. That's some bullshit. That's bullshit. I'll call it. It's bullshit. Life with Laura, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. I think that's bullshit. I think if you really cared, you would give it to them. Everybody else did. Even Mackenzie, they got hers. Even as damning as they are, hand them over. What did he have on that phone that his mother did not want them to see? I don't think it was drug related. Everyone knows he was the plug. Everyone knows he was the drug dealer. Everyone knows there was something else on that phone. She handed over what she felt was necessary to hand over to make her look bad. She didn't hand everything over. Think about that. Cyborg, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. That video, she picked and chose what she wanted to hand over. And that's a little concerning to me. What was on that phone? You mean to tell me there was no video? I feel like, was there a video? What was it? So, I don't know. Sherry Lee, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. If she thought he was a good boy, she wouldn't be hiding the phone. Thank you, Lainey. Listen, I'm not saying because these kids did drugs and they were wild and uncontrollable teenagers that they're bad people. I am absolutely not saying that. Everybody's life is valuable. Kids do drugs. Kids act stupid. Kids are entitled and they're brats and they're dumb and I'm not saying that his life is any less valuable because he was a drug dealer. Nothing like that. Everyone's life is worth the same. Spicy Crouton, I love the name. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. I don't think that, any of these kids are bad or any of these, nothing like that. And again, I do believe that she is the reason why they were dead, and I think she's where she needs to be. I just don't believe the charge is correct. There was no intent. Somebody prove it to me. Everyone keeps saying, but she was threatening him, but nobody can show me an actual threat. Not one person. I think they were both setting each other up when they were fighting. I think they were both, I'll tell your mom about the drugs. I'll tell the cops about you dealing. I think they went at each other like that when they were fighting, right? Which they were toxic. It makes sense to me. But I've never seen anybody threaten anybody. You cannot explain the speed. I think she went on purpose doing 100. I think she got down off the road with all the lights and where the cops would be. I think she was on that dark road. And like always, because they were all dumb, she sped up. And that's why the boys weren't like, oh my God, you're going 100. They did too. They all had records of driving. And Davion's mother took the car away. I think that they were used to it. Laughing after the party. They're high. Davion was back there texting only a couple of minutes, 3 or 4 minutes before the car crashed. Why didn't he text 911? Why didn't he call the cops if they were fighting and they were speeding and he was so scared? Come on, guys. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. He was calmly back there texting that, oh, bro, I'm tripping, and oh, yeah, that's cool. And they said that his phone was on. He was using the phone. Life 360 has him using the phone. It's the same, and you can't sit there and be like, well, Life 360 don't know, because then you can't use the Life 360. That's the basis of their entire case. So you can't say it's not credible for one thing, but credible for the other. So I do believe that she was speeding on purpose. I think they were high. I think they were all talking about everything that happened that night. Oh, this person said this. I think they were bullshitting in the car. I think that was she trying to light up a blunt and dropped it and she's reaching and she didn't see that wall? All of a sudden she's up on a curb and fuck. You know what I mean? They were all talk. You don't know that didn't happen. Is that a possibility? Abso-freaking-lutely. And if that is a possibility, and it is, then there's no way that she should be in prison on intentional premeditated murder, because there's another possibility, which gives reasonable doubt. And if there's reasonable doubt, you can't convict her on those charges. So, It wasn't just 5 seconds before the crash. She was flooring it and driving that speed down that entire road. Again, look at the Life 360. She didn't just speed up right before. She was driving down that road fast. So, Jins, let's talk about the jury trial. Excuse me. Let's talk about the jury trial. She wanted a jury trial. Her attorney talked her out of it and said to go with just the judge. Y'all, I'm not an attorney. Okay? I'm not an attorney. But even I know that in a case like this, you got a better chance with 12 peers than you do one judge. In the court where the boy who's dead's mother worked. Just saying. Just saying. Question. Guys, ask the quiet questions out loud. Ask the questions. Don't just go with a narrative. Don't just go with public opinion because you want to. The girl's not guilty because we hate her. If you're really into true crime, ask the questions nobody else wants to ask. That's where you're usually going to find the answers. You're going to find an awful lot of answers asking the questions nobody else is willing to. She only had to get one juror to feel bad. The lawyer is the reason that she chose to have a bench trial. I do not think she planned it. I do not. No, I do not think she planned it. So, and everything that I'm saying, I'm going to listen. If you guys didn't look at the court documents, the interviews, the FOIA documents, read the text messages, read them without bias, you guys are going to see some crap. The way these kids were talking, the things they were saying, listen to the way the police are asking the questions, listen to the way the cops are asking the questions. They were really letting these kids run with these rumors, and they ate into all of it. Everything. And it was so telling, the interview with Dom's mom. Dom's mom said she's a bad person because never gave any reason, no facts, nothing that she could back up. Just kept saying, ask my son, who really had no more information, no other facts, and literally was rambling on and on and on. She did an awful lot of talking, but said absolutely nothing. It was wild. It was wild. And Crystal, it is known that they all drove 90, 100 miles an hour and drove very fast and reckless. All three of them. So we're not going to sit there and be like, oh, but these boys were scared. No, they weren't. They were used to it. He was in the back texting his friend on his phone. He could have called somebody. If he was so scared, why wasn't he choking her from behind? They were driving fast for a minute. Two boys and the girl's 5'4", 110 pounds. You open that door, I'm booting her right out the side. Right? So, and again, what about Dom not being up when she woke up? Tina, I believe that may have been when that whole pew-pew thing happened. The cops had mentioned it. And so were they all outside being dumbasses? Davion didn't have a seatbelt on. Name, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. So again, everyone keeps saying she was ducking underneath the thing. She could have ducked when she finally saw the wall coming and realized there was nothing she could do. Or she was thrown that way, guys. You know the force of 100 miles an hour? The force of something moving at 100 miles per hour and then coming to a dead stop. No, sorry about the word dead, but you know what I mean. Like, bam. They will... Man. Absolutely, it could have been how her body responded to the crash. And again, that's another thing, and I'm glad you said that. So I think that she was driving really fast on that road. I think that now the airbags deployed before she crashed, right? So when they hit that dip in the road, okay, right before the crash, the airbags deployed. Did anybody ever get into an accident where the airbags deployed? You ain't keeping control. That car's going to do and go, and you know what I mean? So I can't prove, I don't think that I saw anything that said the airbags were deployed.
Love you.
I love you too. Good night, baby. I'll see you in the morning. We'll go swimming again.
I'm gonna go to Jesse's.
You're going to Jesse's? Okay.
But we have to be back before when? So we can go swimming.
11.
Okay.
I'll call you in the morning, baby.
Okay, love
Say
you.
goodbye to Moo. He's saying goodbye.
Bye, Moo.
Sorry, my daughter's going to go sleep over my daughter's house. The side airbag deployed 1.7 seconds before the wall when they crashed into that sign. I think that she, you know what I mean? And you could see her trying to veer a little bit towards the end, and then she hit the sign. And so I absolutely believe that they were just being reckless. They were high, and they were just not paying attention. It was a dark road. There are no lights in front of that building. None. I checked today. There are no street lights out there. None. And it was pitch black. At 5:30 in the morning, you guys all saw the video. So I absolutely believe, high on what? The shrooms that she had on her, the weed that she had on her. You know what I mean? That's what I believe. All they did all day long and all night long was talking about tripping with the shrooms. And you mean to tell me that they just got there and decided we'd rather watch cartoons instead? Come on, guys. Come on. Angie, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. I don't believe that. And in fact, Davion texted his friend in Colorado, I'm tripping balls. Right? And you had people who said they were absolutely, she said at the, that Rosie said at the memorial, they were all high on shrooms that night. But none of them talked because they all lawyered up. They all had their cute little story. Nothing happened. We were coloring and sleeping and taking naps all night. And that was the story they all went with. But why did they all lawyer up? Every single one of them. If you were doing nothing wrong and nothing happened, and don't even get me into the blood work, because that blood work, the blood work was taken how many days later? It was August, and don't quote me on this. I don't remember the day. I think it was like the 3rd or the 4th. 3 days later, the blood work wasn't good enough to run a tox screen like that. It was not good enough to run a tox screen like that. You're not going to get anything. Absolutely, mushrooms could be out of the system in 3 days. Now, that's not what teens do at a sleepover. That's what I'm saying, Kristen. Come on. Come on. Like, listen. Oh, we were just watching South Park, and we were just laying there napping. Paul, whose house it was, went to bed. You were all just napping. I mean, all that talk about, can we... Bubba wants to know if we can buy some shrooms off of you. Bubba wants to know if we can, you know, can you bring, we want to buy weed off of you, and we're going to do this, and we're going to party all night. And then you ended up just watching cartoons, not doing nothing. You had all these drugs on you, but nobody did nothing. I don't know, guys. It's wild to me. Absolutely wild. Hey, chatter. So that's what I think, but again, I can tell you that I think that, but I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to go through the interviews. All right. Hey, Lisa, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Yes, but the blood wasn't good enough for that kind of tox screen. She did. And didn't they lose the blood? I think they lost the blood or something happened with the blood. I got to go back. I saw it. But they weren't able to. They had to go back days later, and the sample wasn't good enough anymore. And they were sleeping, and then they woke up at 5:30 to go home. They threw it away. That's right. Yeah. So, and again, like, there's an awful lot that went wrong. Is it true that she drove that road 7 times prior to the crash? Honey, I'm sure she drove that road 100 times prior to the crash, because it was a road that they frequented and used a lot. It was a road, even Dom's mother said it. All of them, they thought they were hurting her by saying it, but they were just proving that the girl takes the road. It wasn't out of the norm for them to take that road. It was a shortcut, also a shortcut that cops weren't really on, and these are kids that are driving around at a high rate of speed with drugs on them all the time. They're not trying to take the main road with the lights and the cops and the speedy traps. They're going to take the back roads, and that was a road she took all the time. Everybody said it. So, first of all, if this was a road that she took all the time, and she knew that that building was there, okay, why did she have to scout it out? Someone make that make sense to me. Why was she scouting it out? She had to go back there 3 or 4 times to make sure of what? She could have drove into anything if she just wanted to kill them. He had guns in the house. She could have shot him and said it was self-defense if she wanted to kill him and it was truly that she wanted to murder that boy, he had guns in his home, guys. Okay? She could have sat there and shot him and said, hey, he attacked me. That would have been, I mean, come on. She didn't have to ram herself into a wall at 100 miles an hour to kill the guy. Make it make sense. It doesn't make any sense. What do you think about Rosie driving there that morning claiming not to know it was them? I don't believe it. I think that's a lie. You don't, I mean, they would see it on the video. Even if she was a mental case. I mean, can you prove that there was an intent? Then, so she just decided to snap at that very minute? But if she snapped at that very minute, then you can't say that she was scoping out the area. Like, it don't make sense. Why wouldn't she have snapped at the house with the gun? And again, we have the video of him locking her out of the house. She could have easily said, he attacked me, he wanted me out of the house. I had to shoot him, he wouldn't get off me. If she really wanted to kill him. There was definitely more ways that she could have killed him. Keisha, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. So, I mean, it doesn't make any sense. And I think it's possible she was doing it to scare everyone and ended up losing control. Why would she? I mean, I don't think it would scare them. I think that it was normal for them to just drive. Why would she feel like she was trying to scare them? They weren't fighting beforehand, right? It just doesn't make sense. Like, why would she try to scare them? And if they were scared, he wouldn't be casually texting his friend in the back seat because he'd be too busy being scared. It doesn't make sense. And they all drove that fast. They weren't scared of it. They all did it themselves. They were used to it. They were used to it. And that's all there. I just think she was too high to remember it was a dead end. I believe one of two things happened. She either lost consciousness when the airbags deployed before hitting the wall, or she hit the wall. And I think that she, you know, all she says is, I remember my vision fading to black. Yeah, hitting an airbag coming at you will do that to you. I've experienced that. And hitting a wall at 100 miles an hour will also do that to you. So I think in her mind, she thinks it might have been I passed out because has anybody ever fainted? Or been hit so hard you were knocked unconscious? I have, and you fade. All of a sudden it, like literally like something in a movie, it just closes in on you. The black comes over you. So I think that her thinking that she passed out was her losing consciousness. Like her, bam. You know what I mean? Because if she used a gun, she couldn't make it look like an accident or medical episode. No, she could make it look like self-defense. And she has the text messages. And she has the videos of him locking her out of the house, being aggressive, right? She could have, same thing she's playing now, she could have played with that. You wouldn't assume someone would die from a car crash. You would absolutely assume someone would die from a car crash in 100 miles an hour. I mean, that's just common sense. I mean, there's no way you think you're going to hit a wall at 100 miles an hour and think you're going to live. Robin's Craft, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Hey, Goat Queen. You wouldn't think that you would die if you hit a wall going 100 miles an hour? Oh, well, I'm going to assume that I'm dead at 70 miles an hour. 100 is just, I'm going out fast. I'm surprised she lived. I'm really surprised she lived. It's not something I'd want to find out. I agree, Tina. I agree with that. Most people would. Mackenzie did not. Guys, make that make sense. That comment, you just, you know, it's the comments that just because you don't like her, she's guilty, that drives me nuts. Because if you're into true crime, then you're looking for truths and facts. You're not really, you can't take your personal like or dislike for somebody and just assume that if you don't like them, that they're guilty. Her creator obviously is not done with her and allowed her to live. I agree, Mercy. What do I think about Rosie? I think Rosie knows an awful lot and did a lot of lying and is doing a lot of hiding. I think Rosie is... Something happened at that house that night, guys. Do I really think she's not guilty, Jeanette? So I believe she's guilty of vehicular manslaughter. I don't believe she's guilty of intentional murder. Absolutely not. Prove it. It wasn't proved. And nobody can say it was. No one can say that it was intentional. I don't believe she intentionally tried to kill them. It doesn't make sense. I want to find out more. Right, I agree, Monica. I agree. So I'm going to be, they probably drove that road so many times speeding, and this is the time it went wrong. Sonia, yes. I absolutely agree with that. They've done it a billion times. It was definitely premeditated. Semper Fi, prove it to me. What makes you think, and I'm not saying this to be a wise ass, like come on up. I'm really curious for those of you who think it was intentional. I really want to know the logic and the proof that you've seen that says it was intentional. Like, I'm not trying to be a jerk. Like, come on up and talk to me. I'm really curious. Nene, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. I'm curious to see where you see the proof that it was intentional. Do I think she got the right sentence? No, I don't. Absolutely not. So do you think it will be overturned? I hope it is. And they have a reason for it to be overturned. She was driving, she was in control of that car, meaning she was responsible for Dom and Davion's life. Vehicular manslaughter, I agree. But I don't think it was premeditated murder. I think they always drove like that on the road. They did. I believe if it would have been intentional, she would have had a third person. She wouldn't have had a third person in the car. I agree. And for those people who were saying that she didn't know, she knew Davion for a while. Davion was not a new friend. Davion was a new friend to Dom. Davion was new to like hanging out with them so much because Davion stayed with Dominic and Mackenzie. But they knew each other and were friends for a really long time. Do you think someone tampered with the car? Something happened at that house. Now, I don't know. I wasn't until somebody starts talking about what really happened at that house that night. I don't know. But I know a lot of people didn't like Mackenzie. A lot of people didn't like her. And in fact, that's how this whole thing started. It was a witch hunt from the very beginning because they didn't like her. There's a lot of rumors going on because they didn't like her. Do you think she could have got life? Do you think? No. No. It's premeditated in your opinion? So Mary, what makes you think it's premeditated? What did you see that proved to you that it's premeditated? Hold on. I'm from Ohio. There's certain roads teenagers speed down. I agree that day was not intentional. Yeah, Nessa, I mean, I think that happens everywhere. Let's be real. Like, my kids getting their license was the scariest thing that ever happened to me. My kids I have one pushing 30, and I'm still like, can you call me when you get there? Because I don't trust kids, and they don't, like, come on. And with cell phones these days, and just not paying attention, not being aware, and then throwing on shroom. You're tripping on shrooms on top of it. That was a recipe for disaster, guys. Do you think if she passed out that her foot would have let up? She knew this road. They all did. I think that if she passed out, if she fainted, no. I don't believe that her foot would have stayed on the gas. If she had a seizure, I do believe that her foot could have stayed on the gas. Medically speaking. But if she just fainted, no. Because usually when you faint, your muscles kind of let go. But when you're in a seizure, it's the complete opposite. Your muscles, like, they stiffen, they go, yeah, it's... The car was looked at, forensics cleared, foul play. That's one person for you. Who did that? Like, you have to look at that too. I think her and her parents' behavior made it worse for them, honestly. Oh, I absolutely agree. She's not a good person. I think she's a crappy person. And I think her parents should be charged with something because you weren't even parenting your kid. You were being your kid's friend and not your kid's parent. They need to be charged with something. So I'm not sitting here saying like, oh, free Mackenzie, she's this great person. Not at all, guys. I'm just saying when it comes down to the facts of the case, it has not yet even come close to being proven it was premeditated. That was all just a rumor mill and being pushed. And again, you know me and the question why. I always want to know why. Why did Dom's mother push that narrative so hard? She was the first one to push it. Well, no, she wasn't the first one. The kids were. But she was one of the first ones to push it just as hard. Amanda, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. And my question is why? And I'm not going to stop until I find out why. So, know that I'm on that rampage. And again, I'm not saying that these people are bad people. Yes, she lost her son, and yes, I feel bad for her. Nobody, as a mother, my heart goes out to her, but I do believe she pushed the narrative. Shima, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Well, I'm following you now because I want to find out. Tina, come on that ride because it's sure going to be interesting. If anything, my journeys are interesting. I'll give them that. I'll answer your question. Hold on. I answered your question, so answer mine. How many times did she drive past the location? What do you mean, how many times did she drive? What kind of question is that? She took the road all the time. I don't even think she knows the answer to that. That was a road that she took all the time. In fact, Dom's own family said that. Everybody said that. That road was a road she took all of the time. It was not new to her. Dom's own family admitted that. Not new to her. And I didn't see you answer my question if you did simplify. But I can't give you a number. I can't say like 10 times, 100 times, 200 times. I don't know. But it was one that she frequented a lot. That for her, all right, bye. Kenzie's dad, that man don't help either. Kenzie's dad's latest interview is even worse than the others. I get what they're trying to say. They're just, listen, they're not the sharpest tools in the shed, if you ask me. I think that I see what they're trying to say, and they are correct in some of the things that they're saying. How they're presenting it, and the fact that we already look at them just like Mackenzie. We don't like them. And so people are not going to listen to what they say because they already have a predisposition to not like them. But if you really listen to what he's saying, though, a lot of what he's saying is correct. I don't like him either, but what he's saying is correct. Just think of how many roads we drive on the regular. Exactly, Lisa, that was my point. Like, I have no idea. I can't tell you she drove down it. I know she drove down it quite a few times a few days before the accident, but, I mean, if you looked at her GPS, I mean, she could have drove down that road every other day for 5 years. Who knows? I have no idea. Thank you, MGP, for the follow. I appreciate it. Hold on. So you're saying that she never showed erratic behavior before that clearly shows she is capable. What behavior? The fact that they were in a toxic relationship? No, nothing that I've seen from her. I mean, yeah, she was erratic. Yeah, she was, you know what I mean? Like she was a kid, like, but not that, I don't look at any of her behavior and be like, she's going to murder somebody. She's premeditated murder because look at her behavior. No. I haven't seen anything that proves that she had an intent to murder those boys. I mean, yeah, she erratic. None of her behavior was good. The girl was sitting there, excessive pot smoking, constantly driving reckless. Like, I'm not saying the girl was a great kid. I'm not saying anything like that. Her behavior was reckless a lot of the time. All of them. All of their behavior was reckless more times than not. I just don't believe that she planned to murder those two boys that night. Do you think she should have got more than 15 years? I don't know. What is it? 8 to 15 in 8 to 15 years, I think, is what vehicular manslaughter is in Ohio, guys. I'm not sure. If I go with the theory that she was being reckless, then I think that she should have at least 15 years. If they can prove that it was a medical or car thing and she wasn't at fault, then maybe not. That's a hard one. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see what the... Let me see what the going rate is. Hold on. Excuse me. Prior serious related. So this doesn't really give much here either. So I would think at least 15 years. Here it's saying 5. 15 years for 2 people gone. Yes, if she didn't mean to do it. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that their lives weren't, you know what I mean? But like, you can't throw everybody in prison for life for doing something. It's different if it's not premeditated. And again, I mean, if they were being reckless, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, what is, it doesn't even give me a straight answer here for the going rate for vehicular manslaughter. I would have to look it up. Do I think that it should be at the higher end? Yes. Yes, I do. Just because I think that, and again, I think that drugs did play a part in it, and I think she sped all the time, which was reckless. So, yeah, Google has 3 to 8. I think more than 8. Or at least 16. 8 for each of them. The higher end for each of them. I think that would be appropriate. Because again, they're young, stupid kids, right? So, and I'm not saying that someone's life, that's a hard thing. And listen, I'm glad it ain't my job. I'm not going to lie. That's a really hard thing to play out because I feel for the parents of the kids that are dead. You know what I mean? And I also feel for the person who may not have intended to kill somebody. Like, I can't imagine killing somebody in an accident, not meaning to. And that's a hard one. And I'm just glad that's not my job. My other question is, hold on. My other question is, how did she survive and they passed away? That's a question for the good Lord, because her injuries were pretty bad. Her injuries could have definitely been fatal. Had that been a little bit longer, I think she would have passed. So I don't know. And part of me wonders if Davion wouldn't have survived it if they had gotten there a little sooner. But that's a question for the good Lord. It's not one I can answer. And not a mark on her face. I don't know. Like that, I can't explain. How did she end up underneath the passenger side dash? I have no idea. You know, like, one was laying across the passenger seat from the back. Like, they were shaken up all over the place. So, you know, yeah, that's a wild. All right, guys, check the things. Are you guys meaning to come up? Mel, did you want to come up? Keisha said 17 when the accident happened, and meaning she was 13 when they started dating. Let's talk about it. I agree. Let's talk about that. Also, the guys didn't have their seatbelts on. Only she did. I thought that his was on too. Wasn't Dom's on? Or I could have misread that. Mel, do you know you're up here?
Yes, I do. I just thought the case was very intriguing because there's so many different scenarios. Like, as we're currently, I'm actually rewatching the documentary as we speak, and I just got to the part where one of her friends was describing how Dom cheated on with one of their best friends in the group, and I think that is really suspicious because, like you said earlier, that you never know what could go on in that house. You never know with Mackenzie is maybe she confronted that friend that Dom cheated on her and she's trying to get a confession out of it. You know what I mean?
So they both cheated on each other a lot. So did you guys see she was selling feet pics and trying to get paid for being with the guy? When they were on a break, so they did that a lot to each other. They broke up, were with other people, and then would get back together. That was common for them. My theory is when you woke up and he wasn't next to her, he was around with her friend. Now that could be a thing, but listen, I don't see her walking out of there without flipping the hell out that night. I don't even see them making it in the car. Let's be real. You see her. Does she look like someone's just going to walk away from that? I definitely don't see that happening.
Did you read the TMZ interview with Gypsy Rose about how Gypsy was saying that Mackenzie needed to grow up. And I was like, says the one who bleeped her mother, for crying out loud. And I'm just like, why do you have a right to say that even though you just did the same thing? Like, that does not make any sense at all. And that just drove me crazy.
Did y'all see them laughing at her? That was enough said. All right, that was the first time I
Yeah.
was proud of Harvey
Well,
when they sat
that's
there
what I was
laughing at her.
saying. Is like, I tried to keep like a serious face, but this whole time was just like, oh my goodness, like they're trying so hard not to laugh, and I tried not hard to laugh too, but the way she was saying it, and it's like, oh my gosh, you know what I mean?
I do. I saw that. That was yeah. I'm not really a true crime junkie, honey. You are true crime. Period. Like I need you to not interview her anymore for anything else like this.
No, because it's like the way, like, I'm not sure if she how described it, but she was like glorifying of what she did, and she's trying to get like Mackenzie was like trying to get like sponsorships and all that stuff, and Gypsy was like, oh, she could like write a book, she can do a documentaries, and I'm just like,
Listen. So
she
actually
does not, yeah.
speaking of that, Justice just asked me a question. Do you believe in? Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate it. Do you believe in the Dom and Davian's law? Sorry, I haven't been here the whole time. Well, if you would just stick around. No, I'm just kidding, Justice. That's a good question. I don't. Well, it's not that I don't. I don't think it's going to work out because they already have the Son of Sam law. It needs to be revamped. I firmly believe that. But you got to. It's too close to the Son of Sam law. I feel like I kind of get it, but you're playing with rights. You're talking about constitutional rights at that point. So I don't see that flowing, unfortunately. It's a good, I like the theory. I don't think it's going to swing. Because, right, unfiltered, right, the Son of Sam law doesn't get upheld because a lot of times they have an issue with the impeding on their constitutional rights, the freedom of speech. That's what she's asking for, an updated version of it, I'm sure. I'm not going to lie. I think while it's a good idea, I don't see that working out.
I just think the whole thing is like really suspicious. Like there's a lot of foul play, and there are missing points. There's very much huge. Like I think she deserves a lot more sentence. To be honest with you, but
Who?
Mackenzie, the
So you
sentence
think
that she,
you
I
think
think
that it's premeditated murder?
that's what I believe. But then again, like
So,
what everyone else is saying, like everybody has good points, but you never know what the situation is.
so now with that, can I ask you what proves to you, what makes you believe that it's premeditated murder?
Well,
I'm just
they
curious.
said that 7 days prior, she passed that same spot multiple times. Like you said earlier, out of all the spots that they could have hit, why did she specifically hit that same area for that specific reason?
But her passing that road that she used so frequently, she drove down that road all the time.
Yeah.
So you think that the fact that she drove down that road before the accident happened proves that she meant to murder them?
Well, not like meant to like murder them, you know what I mean? But it's like you never know. One of the guys could just be like, "Hey, you gotta like stop driving like this," and like you said, one of them like panicked. Like I don't understand why he could have called the police in the first place if she kept hitting the gas pedal, and I don't understand why Dom would just stop her automatically and just grab the wheel. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear that. But that's why I feel like the fact that they didn't do that just proves to me that It wasn't premeditated. Hey, Ashton, do you know you're up here?
Yeah.
Hey, Ashton, do you know you're up here?
Will love this. Oh no, I can't believe it.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if Ashton knew she was up here. Hey guys, do me a favor. I got a lot of requests. Check to
I
make
can
sure you're
pop
not.
off.
It's okay. It doesn't matter. Just check to make sure you guys don't. You're not accidentally requesting. Bobby, did you mean to come up? We Heather, I see you. Bobby, do you know you're up here? Bobby doesn't know, but she's up here. But thank you for tapping, Bobby, because if you're accidentally up here, that means you were tapping for me, and I appreciate the taps. That was a total accident. That's so funny. Hold on one second. They tried the car was put into neutral a few times. They tried the car was put into neutral a few times. So I'm going to talk about that. I don't believe that that was Dominic. I haven't spoken on the whole thing with the Toyota yet because I have a call. I put a call out to Toyota. Marcy, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I put a call out to Toyota because I wanted to hear about myself, about the gas pedal getting stuck on the mat. There was an issue. Do I think it's possible that that gas pedal could have gone down? Could she have hit that gas pedal when she was driving at 100, accidentally hit the, what do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for, guys? The thing that keeps the car going when you don't have your foot on the accelerator? Cruise
Ignition?
control. No, the cruise control.
Oh,
Do
okay.
I think that, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I feel like, could the pedal have gotten stuck? Yes. I feel like the pedal could have gotten stuck. I feel like that makes sense on why they were pushing it back and forth to neutral. I feel like, first of all, that car was so screwed up. Don't tell me that there's no way that you could. Oh, they checked the car and it didn't get stuck. Come on, man. So I wanted to, before I even spoke on that though, the shoe was lodged in there. So yeah, the slipper. But I put a call out to Toyota, my husband knows a mechanic over here at Toyota that we use, because we use Toyota all the time. And so I'm going to go and pick his brain when I go and get my car serviced. Next week, I'm going to pick his brain and see, because I feel like I do know that Toyota had a lot of issues. I do know I had a car that had the issue with the brake when I had the Camry. The only thing that really gets me is the fact that she threatened to crash before and to unalive him a lot. First of all, where do you see a lot, Amanda? Are you hearing that from someone, or are you actually seeing that? Also, where are you getting the fact that she threatened to crash the car? Because if you read the text messages for what they are, who do you believe, Dominic or Mackenzie? Because they both responded to that one. And then wasn't there a story that was given by Angelo where he did that a couple of weeks prior? So again, it just looks like a toxic back and forth, but why were there no medical professionals to speak about the medical conditions? Because the lawyer didn't lawyer. That's why. Her lawyer didn't lawyer, and I want to know why. I want to know why. A week before, she threatened Dom by speeding. Who told you? Where did you hear that? Who said that? Where did you hear that? Because if you read the messages, it actually is reversed. They were both threatening each other. And in fact, Mackenzie was the one reaching out to his mom saying that he was doing it to her. And then you have, listen, don't even get me on the Chris guy that was living in the house that went to pick him up, who only heard it on the phone, because that's a wild thing too. How come since she's been to jail, she's had no POTS or fainting, blacking out, no meds either? Didn't we see her medical thing that she had an issue with fainting? I got to pull that up, guys. I think I do see that she had a history with fainting. I don't know that it was diagnosed POTS, but I do know she had an issue with fainting. So do you think, I don't think that she had POTS. I don't think that it was a medical reason. I think she thinks it's a medical reason because the last thing she remembers is her fogging out and passing out. And the brakes had to be done, but I had my car brake pads bust through the floor. Yeah. I had an issue with the mat. I had one of those Camrys that the mat had to be replaced. I mean, the thing where the accelerator got caught in the mat. I don't think we know for sure if she hasn't fainted too in jail. That, Shelly Belly. There is no proof of POTS and no medical history. But hold on, because a doctor absolutely did go in and give a sworn statement, though. I'll pull that one up for you too. So that's wrong. A doctor did go in and give their medical opinion. Hold on. Hey, Simone. They were both toxic, Isabel. You can't change my mind on that. That's what her mother tried to use after the fact. Right. And I think they're saying POTS because she did have a history of passing out. I don't think she was ever diagnosed with POTS. I think they were just saying that because she has a history of passing out. However, I don't think it was a medical reason. I think she thinks that she passed out because she remembers blacking out. Like, I don't think that, like, she remembers going out. But that doesn't necessarily mean you fainted. That could have meant you impacted. I don't think there's any other way to say this, and that it was caused by an arguing between the two of them. Well, if they were arguing and they were speeding and they were fighting so bad and she just decided that she was going to speed so hard and, you know, they were fighting so bad, why was the kid in the back not calling somebody? Why was he just randomly on his phone in the back seat? I don't agree with it being POTS. I do believe that she thinks it's POTS because she fainted or she remembers becoming unconscious. I don't think that she realizes that that may not have been just a faint. What's POTS? Can it be brought on by drugs? POTS is a postural orthostatic, like hypotensive episode. It usually means that your blood pressure drops and you pass out when you go from one position, as in like laying down, to getting up, or usually sitting to standing. It can happen in just, you know, moving around, but it's more common when you're changing actual positions of your body, and then your blood pressure drops, your heart rate, and you just kind of pass out. Because I think that a lot of people hear I fainted and automatically assume fainting means POTS. That's what I believe. People, you say you fainted and all of a sudden, what do I think about the Carney language asking about saying seizures? So the go to the gill to the geese to the goo, with the guy to the gump, with the glue, with the geedle, the geese, to the geese, to the get of the end of the ging, of the gub, of the guts, to the geese, to the gers, with the gench, to the gee, with the gus, to the gawk, of the ging, of the ginge, of the gib, of the gur, of the gish. The guy with the gurn, to the gib, of the gur, of the gish, with the gin, of the guy, with the giz, of the gack, of the gid. To the geese, with the geeks, of the gull, of the gid, of the gold, of the gift, for the gin, with the guts, to the gin, of the gav, of the gers, of the gets, of the geese, of the gur. And what I said there was I speak gibberish. I spoke it since I'm a kid. I speak a little bit different from her Carney. However, I can understand her Carney because she uses E's and I use ga, and we just insert that into different syllables. And all that means is because you heard a word that starts with an S and the word E's, you picked up seizures, but somebody who can actually speak the language like me, I can understand it. She didn't say seizure. How is she legally allowed to drive with POTS? She's not. And if she was diagnosed with POTS, they would have put that into motor vehicles and had her give her license over. She was diagnosed in 2017 with POTS. It's in the court docs. Send me that one book, Kitty. I don't have that one. I didn't see that. She could have been, Lisa. I may not have seen it, or I just may have overlooked that. But I do remember the doctor testifying. I don't remember him saying POTS, though. Please. Oh. Yes, guys, do me a favor. If you guys can send me a heart me, I appreciate it. It's been a minute since I get live, and I got to get back on my... What about the text of him saying she tried before? What about the text of him saying she tried before? What are you talking... Are you talking about with the car, Sweet Love, Sweet Liv? Hey, Anne-Marie. If her condition was so dangerous, she wouldn't have been driving. I agree, Lala. Actually, POTS is very dangerous, and if there was active POTS, yeah, they probably would have taken a license. Have you read the text message? She was smothering him. I read the text message. I don't believe she was smothering him. I do see him breaking up with her and then crying to get back with her. I think they were both really just toxic. I don't believe she was smothering him. I think they were both really just toxic, but they were so comfortable together. They were together for years. They were comfortable. You get in that stuck, comfortable situation, and they were familiar. And kids don't want to be alone, right? Kids never want to be without a boyfriend or girlfriend. And so that's what I think with her. I don't think she was smothering him. I think he was the same way about her that she was about him. They all had psychological histories, Kayla J. They did. He was trying to sleep in the back. On his phone, he was texting Just Joni. Who was on the phone? Davion was in the back seat on the phone, yes. I feel like it was in the moment thing. I think someone might have received a message from someone. Who? We saw the only phone we didn't see was Dom's. So that should also be a red flag. But again, I don't think that Davion would have been in the back seat just simply texting if he thought she was flipping out and driving him into a wall. And he was just trying to break up with her. There's a message of him trying to leave. And then that same message, if you continue reading, he also asks for her to come back after they broke up. And he did that a couple of times. Both of them did that. Is it possible that she was so high out of her mind she didn't even realize she was going that fast? Tripping on mushrooms? Yeah. Yes. I mean, tripping on mushrooms, they all could have sat there and thought that they were space dogs. So, yeah. Just depends on what kind they did. I mean, yeah. All there is speculation happened inside the car. So, Steph, if there's only speculation, then she should not be in jail for intentional premeditated murder because there was no proof of anything, right? So if there's no proof of anything and everything is just speculation, and I agree, a lot of it is speculation, then there's no proof of intent to murder. So she should not have been convicted of those charges. What do you think about, I already. Hold on, guys, I'm trying to catch up. I'm like 100 messages behind here. Her arrogance is why she's in prison. She didn't take it seriously until too late. Her arrogance isn't a reason to be in prison on premeditated murder charges, though. People can be arrogant, but it doesn't make them murderers. I'm just saying. Why didn't she say they did mushrooms? Or did she? Everybody in that house said they didn't. And I think they were all scared of the charges. I think they think that that's a serious drug and they were all concerned about it. Dom is my cousin. May he be at peace. I agree with you. May his soul be at peace. And I'm sorry for your loss if you are his cousin. And there should be no reason his mom should be texting him about any of her cases. Yeah, red flag. Although that is that's Mama Bear coming out, hiding something that would not look so good for her son. There is proof. Let's go with the fact that it was proven in court. So, Deb, you making that comment means that judges can make a mistake, right? Where was the proof that it was intentional murder? The judge said she believed it was intentional murder, but was there ever any actual proof that the murder was intentional? No, there wasn't. Bench trial thoughts. I think that she wanted a jury. The attorney convinced her to go with the bench trial, and I think that he was trying to not really be her lawyer, if you ask me. Nothing he did made me think that he was defending her. Hold on. She was a child. Her parents and lawyer didn't take the possibility of murder charges serious enough. I believe that they were trusting the attorney, and I think the attorney didn't take anything serious. I think the attorney definitely dropped the ball. Kelly, peace and love. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. convinced her to go with a bench and then didn't defend her. Exactly, Unfiltered. The black box says enough. What does the black box say? The black box only says what the black box says. It can't speak for intent. Josie, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Her parents were a little too loopy, especially the dad. Listen, her parents are wild. I don't like them. I think that they're not parents. I think they're more concerned about being her friend than they are parents. So don't even get me. You don't want me to give you my personal opinion on them. His closing argument made no sense. His not. Yeah, that whole thing just made no sense. I agree, Unfiltered. Lawyer was not on her side. Sweet Liv, I agree. I agree with that, Glow with Amanda. Absolutely. My point's that, I don't know what you guys are talking about back and forth. I think her attorney didn't try because he assumed she would be convicted. That is, you can get disbarred for that. Your attorney has to try. Your attorney is fighting a conviction. And again, why would he assume that she's being convicted? There was no proof that she intended to murder those boys. There was no proof. Hey, Purple Lover. Hey. He was a really, really bad lawyer, Lisa. I think she deserves another trial as an adult with more choice in her own representation. I agree. Also, she was a minor, so should she be tried as an adult? We have a law for a reason. So if she was 17, why are we trying a 17-year-old as an adult? That's my whole thing. And then don't even get me on the cause and manner of death, how it was changed from accident to homicide. Like, there's so much, guys, to go over with this. It's wild. All that was presented by the prosecutor was facts. The car, black box, camera, videos. But can any of it show intent? None of it showed intent. None of it showed that she meant to murder those boys that day. Would that come? No, she turned 18 days after the accident. Yeah, so that means when the accident happened, she was 17 years old. 17 is 17, 18 is 18. We have those laws in place for a reason. I don't think any child should ever be charged with as an adult. I think that you have them in place, and to sit there and say, well, I'm going to consider you an adult now, but not for anything else. No, it's if the age is 18, then the age is 18. They didn't go for charges until after she was of age. It doesn't matter, then she committed the crime at 17. Plus, those same facts could prove her innocence of not being intentional. Yeah, I agree. Was an accident until they had investigators look into and do their job. How is that confusing? Was an accident until they had investigators. I'm not even sure what you're saying there. So if you can answer that question again, I appreciate it. Talk to text is my friend. I think should be under 21 anyway for today's children. Listen, I know some 45-year-olds who should still be considered children. Just saying. And all the truth of all their background was going to come out. Mackenzie's father was getting his rugs. I think I missed a whole portion of that. The reason she went with a judge trial is because they knew a jury trial people would be subpoenaed. And all the truth of their people were subpoenaed in a bench trial. People could still be subpoenaed. I don't think subpoenas have nothing to do with a bench or a jury trial. They only started investigating because of Dom's mom knowing people and twisting the narrative. Blair, I agree with that. As of right now, I agree with that. Sounds like you were saying Mackenzie is not guilty. So, I believe that Mackenzie is guilty. I believe that she's guilty because she's the reason those two boys are dead. I believe she is guilty of vehicular manslaughter. I do not believe she is guilty of premeditated intentional murder. Because there was no proof. Amber, I'm getting pieces of what you're saying. But guys, easier to convince one person versus 12. You don't have to convince all 12, though. You only, you only need one of those 12. So you have more chances with a jury than you do a bench. 2 people are no longer here. Either way, she caused the accident. I agree with that. However, there's a big difference between vehicular manslaughter, meaning I killed them, in a car and I intended to murder them. It's not the same. Just because these kids are dead at her because of her driving the charge is not right. And that is a big deal. You can't sit there and say someone intended to murder someone just because these boys are dead and she was driving. Intentional murder definitely wasn't it. If I was on the jury, I believe I'd be the one. No intent proven. Lisa, I agree, I would be too, because I'm that person. You need to prove it to me. I don't go with emotion. She didn't have a chance. She was guilty before the trial started. Keisha, I agree with that. People made her guilty. Her friends walked in and were trying to make her guilty on day 2 while she was in the hospital, not even sure she'd survive. Have you not watched any of Dom's sister's podcast? So I did see a few of them. What Dom's sister said doesn't mean anything to me, just like what a lot of people say. I'm looking at the facts. I'm looking at the documents. I'm looking at interviews. People coming out, anybody coming out right now saying anything doesn't mean anything to me because there's already a narrative out there. And so, unless she was in that car, there's nothing really that she could say to me that would make me believe that it was intentional murder. Because, if there was evidence, it would have been shown. Yeah, listen, I'm about facts. I don't do emotions. I take everything aside. I don't like the girl. I think the girl is not likable. I think the girl is got a lot of issues. However, you got to push that aside. And I'm really just looking at it for what it is. They all were bashing her character, but someone not having a good character doesn't mean they're guilty of murdering your brother. That's my issue. Where was the intent? Prove it. Prove it. Wow, if you think that creature is innocent, I don't trust your opinion. Well, if you think she's guilty of intentional murder, I would like you to show me how. Listen, again, you're getting mad at me because you want this woman to be guilty, not because of facts. If somebody in here for 1 second believed that they saw facts and evidence that she is guilty of premeditated intentional murder, then come on up here and tell me, because I have not seen it. So, again, just because you don't like her does not mean she's guilty of murder. Dom being a racist, listen, I'm not even going to speak on that. Man's dead, and she would have been better off if she chose a jury trial. She wanted a jury trial. It was the lawyer that convinced her to go bench. She drove the route several times before the crash. Yes, it was very common for her to take that route. That was normal for her to drive that way. She intended not to come out of it. It wasn't an accident. The intent was going over 100 for 5 seconds. That does not show intent. All 3 of them have been guilty of driving at 100 miles an hour and speeding. Just because somebody's speeding doesn't mean the intent is murder. It means they're reckless, but it doesn't mean they're intending to murder someone. If they can show her IG pictures of her holding money in court, they can mention him being a racist. I don't think the fact that she was holding money in court either. Just because she's a dumbass and can sell feet pictures doesn't mean she's a murderer, right? So I feel like they were, again, just trying to go for emotion. I agree, though, Isabel. I see where you were going with that. I'm delusional. Yeah, I've been called worse, so thank you, America. Context is everything. Yes, that's true. Her lawyer knew it was guilty. How could her lawyer know it was guilty? They never proved intent. I think a pact was in place. I can see that being a possibility. I agree with that. They also canceled the toxicology report and had to send it out of state several days later. Let me tell you something. As a nurse, I would question that, guys. Question that. Why? None of that would have come in as well as the hearsay with jury trial. I'm not sure what that was. What happened to Nancy Guthrie? Strong, a man I wish I knew. Nobody knows. How do you explain the secret language? Delulu, the guys for the geek, the gib of the girl, the gish. With the guts of the geek, with the love the gang with the gish, the gull of the god of the guff, the geep of the goal, speak of the geek, the geese of the gang with the gidge of the giz. And the guy had the gav with the gun, with the guy get the gids, and the go with the git, with the guy had the go for the gam with the gain of the goes of the git. I also speak gibberish. My family speaks it, my kids speak it, a lot of people speak it. It's a secret language. We all speak it. A lot of people speak them. A lot of people speak gibberish languages. They speak Carney, which is a little bit different, but a lot of people speak them. I grew up speaking them in my family. So there's that. That's how I explain that. Yeah, my kids grew up. They just learned. It's funny because nobody ever taught me. I just heard my older brothers and sisters speaking it. You know what I mean? And my kids learned it because me and my sister and my siblings used to speak it when we were around our kids. So our kids didn't know what we were talking about, and they just picked it up on their own. So my entire family speaks it. My husband hates it because he hasn't picked it up yet. I am not an Irish gypsy. I'm an Italian New Yorker. So there's that. In front of the cops, not one at a time. In front of the cops, not at that time and place. Well, I mean, people who, if she was speaking Spanish, would you have gotten upset with her? I mean, her dad was, I'm not even going to go there with the molesting story. I see no proof of that. And just because you don't like the guy or you think he's a little weird, I feel like if that was the truth, she would have ran with that as a defense. So facts say she was recorded at 97.6 miles an hour. Yes, she did get up to that speed. I'm an Italian Arizonian. That's funny. No brakes. That's the question. An actual language is different. That is an actual language. That's an actual language. If she didn't say seizure, can you tell us what she said, please? I have to go back. I'd have to hear it again. I don't remember. I mean, I read it. I didn't see seizure. It was a couple of days ago. So I'm not going to lie to you and tell you what I think. What I will do is tomorrow during the live, I will pull it up and I will, like hearing it, I will tell you what she said. She said community service. I don't remember what she said, to be honest with you. I can't say yes or no. To be honest with you, I was listening to it when I heard the thing. I don't remember. I would actually have to go back and listen to it again. Should the give to the give to the give to the gas to the give? I know for a fact it wasn't a seizure because that's what I was, that's what I was listening to it for. To hear if she said seizure. So, but I would have to listen to it. I didn't read it because I don't know if they even know how to speak Carney, so I listened to it. Do you think they will ever find Nancy? Oh, I don't know. It's not looking like it, Elizabeth, but not on purpose. They'll find her accidentally if they do. I would have to go back and listen to it again, honey. I really don't. I don't remember. The judge didn't read the text because in the text he tried to off her too. Yeah, I mean, they were both toxic back and forth. I don't think that she really why would she want the guy dead? She could have shot him at home with his gun. He had guns in his home. In fact, I believe they had one that night. Why didn't she just shoot him and say that, hey, I'm 5'4", 110 pounds. He's 6'2", 200 pounds. He came after me. She would have a better defense for that than she does this. I'm just saying. What time do you go live? I lucked up on this one. Guys, this is my first live in a long time. I had a family emergency, and so I had to take a break from content, and so I'm just getting back. But I will be doing lives probably about 8 or 9 p.m. I'll let you know tomorrow what the exact time will be. That's true, but why not press the brake? Same question. Was she capable of pressing the brake? Did she realize that the building was there? I think what happened was they were not paying attention. They were high. They were talking about the night, right? He's back there. They're showing pictures on phones. I think that they just got distracted. They were high and tired and all of that. And I think that she just wasn't paying attention. It was dark. There were no lights in front of that building. I checked today. And I think that she realized a little bit too late that, oh shit, we're crashing. Because I don't think she thought she would live through it. I do think that she was under the influence. She drove under the influence of marijuana. But tripping on mushrooms is a whole different ball game, guys. That's a whole different thing. She did know that route. They always drove, all three of them drove at high speeds. Absolutely, she did it all the time. They proved that, in fact. When she woke up, they got into a fight before they left because he was not laying next to her. There's no proof of that. These people at the party wanted her to be guilty. A lot of the friends wanted her to be guilty. I think that if they were fighting, somebody would have known. So they tested her. There was something happened with the blood, and they tested her a few days later. My husband talked to Darth Vader once. It was an oil stain on the garage floor. See, yes, absolutely. I know somebody who's chased around their school by aliens. I'm not going to tell you who, but yeah, they were chased by aliens and were like terrified. Talk about a trip. Couldn't watch Crash too much. My son's. Oh, I'm sorry, Sunflower. Oh my God, can you people actually read court docs instead of listening to documentaries? And his family. I read the court documents. Yeah, the pictures and the trying to just bash a character, like I get it, but can you show me something that proves intent? They argued and fought all the time. They broke up, cheated on each other, and then got back together all the time. Why all of a sudden did she wake up this morning and decide that she wanted to kill these people? And again, even if there was intent to kill one, why was he in the car? It makes no sense. She does need a fair trial, I agree. Thank you, Suzanne, thank you. I haven't watched and won't. I trust Ivory's take because she does her research. I do try to do as much research. So there are FOIA documents, the court documents. I actually have 2 batches, and Sparky sent me some yesterday that had a couple of pages that I didn't have the other day, and so I appreciate that because hers was a little bit more, had a little bit more stuff in it. So, but when I go live tomorrow, guys, we're going to go through them. I really want to go through the interviews and really listen, especially Dominic's mom. Now, again, I reacted to that one over on YT. So if you guys go on the YT live, I reacted to Dominic's mom's. It's long, so listen to it when you have time. But I really want you guys to listen to it and then come back tomorrow and tell me what you think. Because I feel like she was talking a bunch of nothing, trying to get these cops to think she was this horrible person, but had nothing to show, had no proof. You'll hear her say that the phone is registered to her law firm and I can't give over the phone, but let me give you just the damning evidence I have. It was wild. Husky, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Guys, I'm Ivory Rose Nose on YT. Ivory Rose Nose, just at Ivory Rose Nose. I have a backup page, official, but it's not on that one. It's on the regular, just at Ivory Rose Nose. I'm Ivory Rose Nose everywhere on all social media apps. Shammy, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Proof of driving under the influence is dangerous. I drive at high speed. Let's stop acting innocent, folks. That's what yeah. I agree. Why is local news broadcasting and posting on social media her? Do you want to know why they're talking about it, her being so guilty and her being... It's because the audience, all of you, all of these people who are following this, who are saying that this girl's guilty because they don't like her, they are feeding that group of people, and that group of people is very large. Mainstream media is never going to go with facts if you don't want to hear the facts. You guys are the audience. You guys are paying them. You guys are the ones making them their money and bringing them people. So they are going to tell you all what you want to hear. I'm just saying. Because any real journalist or anybody who looked into this would really question what happened. They would really question the intent, really ask the questions out loud. There's very few people doing that because, again, popular opinion. Again, I'm sure that when I get off here, I've lost a couple of people because you guys don't like what I'm saying, but I'm never going to change what I'm saying just because you want to hear it. I mean, you may not like the truth, but I'm going to give you the truth that I find and whatever I find to be fact. And you know what I mean? Unfortunately, mainstream media don't always work like that. And so they're going to go where the money is. And the money is, it is a hate campaign right now for Mackenzie Shirilla. She's guilty. She's this horrible person. She's got money. She sold pictures of her feet. And she's guilty of murder because of it. You know, and that's the problem, is because the watchers that's what they're believing. So, you know what I mean? Unfortunately, but if you go, there's a lot of people, a lot of lawyers speaking. I know that Harvey and Garagos, or whatever his name is, spoke about her lawyer. They went on YT and they were talking about how her lawyer didn't lawyer. Go listen to the lawyers. I know there's that Stephanie Esquire. There's a bunch of lawyers on here, guys, that are talking about it. Listen to the lawyers, because I've yet to find any lawyer who was like, yeah, they proved intent. Like, listen to the people who have the law backgrounds and they're like, yeah, no, question this. Those are the people you got to listen to. I don't believe Rosie drove past the scene. I think that's a lie. I do not think she did it on purpose. She knew the building was there. Yeah, I mean, people get into accidents all the time, not paying attention, knowing something's there, right? What do you believe she's guilty of? I believe she's guilty of vehicular manslaughter. People are wondering why Tier TT... Sam, wait. People are wondering why Tier TT live? For tomorrow? Wait. Guys, I didn't even see these things coming up here. Hold on. Unfiltered, did you know you're up here?
I did. Hi,
For tomorrow. TikTok, Sam. I'll go over it all on TikTok tomorrow. We'll do Dom's moms if you guys want. Hey, Unfiltered.
Hi, I know the Carney thing keeps coming up, and I just want you guys to know that the translation, if we're talking about when she was in the hospital where everybody says she was saying seizure, the translation for it is can't.
Can I say something to her? He said he's like seizing. He's music cheesy senior basis. We certainly like Jesus. He's like music. Who's like seasons of music? Yeah, like, can I just like take my whole license away for like 10 years or something like that? Like, I don't even.
Okay, so they rewind it and they're gonna slow it down now so you can hear the Carney.
Can I say something to her? He said he's like seizing. He said he's in this like.
It says, can we say like community service? Like just take my whole license away for like 10 years. And
That's
then
what she says to her mom, right?
Yeah, and then her mom replies, we can. And then we hear her say just the latter part. She doesn't ask about community service to the police officer. She just says, can you like just take my license away for 10 years or something?
I really don't believe that she thought that she was getting hit with, because she did not intend to murder them. I think she was shocked when those charges came out. Like, I don't think she realized the severity of the situation. And what day was that? Do you have the date? Are you watching that? Do you have the date of that?
I don't know what day this was, because I was also wondering if because the medical staff testified that she was distraught when she found out that Dom and Davion didn't make it.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if this was after the medical staff had reaffirmed to her that they were gone or not.
And then, I think that was only a couple of days in too. Like, after surgeries, it takes a minute for anesthesia to come out of your system. Like, I need people to really understand what this girl was going through at that point in time. Like I really, like
Guys,
just medically speaking, what
they're
she was
asking
going
if she did a
through.
dry run. No, she didn't do a dry run. You wouldn't have to do a dry run into a building. There's no proof to support that. The ping
What?
was off a cell phone tower in the area. They were in
She
the area.
drove that road all the time.
Right. And it was a ping off the cell phone tower. They can't even triangulate it onto that road in particular. They don't have any footage of it. They don't have any footage of her being on that road 7 times doing dry runs and shit. It was her cell phone pinging off of the tower.
Yeah, what does a dry run even mean? Guys, tell me
Into
what
a
a dry
building.
run would even mean. Right, but like, why would you need to do a dry run? Like, I'm gonna go down that road, there's a building at the bottom of the thing, and I'm gonna drive 100 miles an hour and slam right into the thing. Does that really need a dry run, guys? Think about that. Like, what the hell is a dry run? Zoom really fast straight into the thing. You don't need to practice. No practice necessary for that.
I agree with
It
that.
just makes no sense. It's just what they want you to believe with the narrative. It just ask the questions, guys.
I
She
also
was
want to say,
aware.
hypothetically, I think what happened was when they hit the sign and the side airbags deployed, there was 1.7 seconds from that to hitting the wall. I think that airbag knocked her to the side and it jerked the wheel. So that's why we see the wheel go one way, then the other way, then back. And then, yeah.
I don't think that she saw that sign coming. I think they weren't paying attention. I really don't. I don't think that he was that, first of all, the size of him, again, she was 5'4", 110 pounds. He was 6 foot, 200 pounds at least. Okay. He wasn't struggling with her for that wheel. If he wanted to yank that wheel would have been yanked. Like, she was not taking the guy on the front. That doesn't make any sense either. There was nobody panicking and yanking that wheel. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Also, Dom's seatbelt was engaged. Both front
It was.
seatbelts were engaged. So everybody's saying Dom didn't have his seatbelt on and Kinsey had her seatbelt on for the first time ever. Kinsey also drove with her seatbelt on a lot. You see her tucking it behind her shoulder. She's wearing it in a lot of videos. I know people are saying she's not wearing it in a lot of videos, but she's also wearing it in a lot of videos.
But it makes sense because you're right. She does take off the chest band of the thing and she sits behind her.
Yes.
And that explains, because at first I was like, if she has her seatbelt on, have you ever been in an accident? You can't move it. Once it locks
it jerks you. Yep.
You can't move it. So I'm like, how the hell was she laying on the lap if she had the seatbelt on? But it's because she tucked it behind her. Only her waist was tucked in. And so she went that way. That makes sense.
Yeah, and I think that's why she didn't tense up during the crash. You don't see her like doing that. Her body's more floppy. They say this is common with people that are drunk driving. That's why the drunk driver doesn't usually sustain a lot of the injury. So if she was knocked unconscious by the airbag, putting her over on Dom's side, that would put her under the dash. And then when she hit the wall, she was already protected from being under the dash from the airbag hitting her over to his side. It's just a theory. Obviously, I wasn't in the car, but from the evidence that I've seen,
just the fact that this can be said and make sense is reasonable doubt to intentional murder.
And I also think that's when the gear shift got knocked into neutral, but it wasn't physically like pushed into neutral because the button wasn't popped in and it wasn't hard in neutral. So it popped back out of neutral into drive. And that's why we've seen this gear shift.
That's definitely a possibility. Absolutely. How do you think she survived? God's grace. I don't know. And other than that, I got nothing for you.
And with the age thing, I want people to stop saying they were only 2 grades apart and that's normal. Dom was 16. He's 2 years, 10 months, and 3 days older than Mackenzie. Mackenzie was 13 when they started dating. Mackenzie skipped a grade. Dom was held back a grade. But still, like, you're just entering teenagehood. Like, 3 years doesn't matter when you're older, right? When you're 25 to 29, or 25 to 28, that wouldn't be that crazy. But 13 to 16 is a big difference because at 13, you're just hitting puberty. You're just learning about romantic love and all that stuff. So you're just in that age group. He's been in there for 3 years. So there's a lot of stuff.
If you listen to Christine Russo, the mother, if you listen to her interview, they said how long she been dating, she would not answer because that's concerning. You let a 13-year-old hang around with a 16-year-old. She would not give the straight answer. She knew that, oh man, I don't know. I didn't know they were dating that young. It's been that long. No way. I didn't know until she was 15. Like, yeah, it was wild. Very
Okay,
telling as a parent.
sorry, this has been living in my head rent free since the crash came up, and it's been all over the FYP. And so I've done deep dives because, like you, I like to know facts and stuff like that. I've been with you since you were doing Gypsy Rose, and we were doing the testing of you were pouring liquid and stuff, like literally in front of the camera, like testing it. So, I just want to speak to what was the other thing I wanted to speak to? Oh, this is not. Everybody's mad at Rosie and them for not talking to cops, but this is not the first incident that was experienced by this family. And when that girl fell at Dom's house and was injured, severely injured, the mother told the kids, "Do not talk to cops." That's the worst thing you can do unless your lawyer's present. Don't talk to cops. And Mackenzie was getting cussed out by Dom for talking to cops. And he wanted her to record the conversation and send it to him, the police conversation. And he told her to lie about the cameras and say only the bedroom camera was working when she wanted to give the cops the footage from all the cameras because she was like, it wasn't on purpose. So why wouldn't we? And he said, no, didn't my mom tell you? And so the mother knew, and they were advised not to talk to cops. So to be mad at those baby adults for not talking to cops is wrong because they were advised not to by Dom's mom herself.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I forgot all about that staircase. Who were they trying to say kicked her down the stairs? It was Mackenzie, right?
Mackenzie. They were trying to say Mackenzie pushed her down the stairs. It was ruled an accident. The girl suffered a TBI, and then Dom wanted to buy her a purse, and Kinsey got upset about that. But they like to focus on Kinsey getting jealous about the purse and showing no sympathy. But then Kinsey does say, why don't you pay her medical bills or get her some crystals or some shit? Like, why are you going to give her a purse? What is she going to do with that? Like,
yeah, I agree. Dex, thank you for the follow. Bubba was on live last night telling his truth. Oh, I missed it.
but thanks so much for letting me up here, Ivory, and letting me speak. I just wanted to bring those few points up because I've been following the case. I've also read the court docs, the text messages, and all of that. And Davion was a new friend. Even in the tapes when Dom's mom finds out about Davion being in the car, she's like, I don't even know him. And the dad says, was that the little black kid? Like, he didn't even know his name for real. And he said, yeah, he worked on Dom's car a few times. He had only been living with Mackenzie and Dom for 2 weeks. They were doing music. Before that, he wasn't wrapped up in this circle because he was football oriented, but he tore something in football. And I think that really messed with his identity. So he was going through something.
I think Mackenzie and Davion only knew each other from school.
Well, he was Dom's age, right? He was 20, like Dom.
Yeah, but I think they were in school together. I think they met each other and knew of each other from school. So she knew him way before Dom did, because that's how I believe that's how Dom met him. Was through Bubba, Rosie, and what's her face, Mackenzie. 2 people told that story, that they knew of each other, but they didn't hang out. They weren't outside of school until the rug started happening after the football accident. Haley, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks for the follow also, guys. Thank you, guys. And thanks for letting me up here, Ivory. I really appreciate you giving me voice on your platform. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming up.
Absolutely.
Juliet, thank you guys so much for the follow. All right, guys, it is 10:30. I'm going to get going. I'm going to go get some sleep. I had a really long day. Tomorrow, what's tomorrow? Sunday. So tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard, I will come back on here, guys. If you are in here and you haven't watched the crash, go watch it. This way you can follow along. Thank you, Karen Jeanette, for the follow. I appreciate it. Tomorrow we will go through the interviews if you guys want to, because I think they're really telling, especially Christine's, the mother, Dom's mom. Thank you, Eliza, for the follow. I appreciate it. So, guys, if you haven't, go watch it, catch up, come back tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern. I'll see you guys then. Thank you, guys.